About a year ago, I switched from playing fighting games on the pad to the Mayflash 300. I'll leave y'all a link down below just for courtesy because that is the reason why I'm showing it, because it is exactly what I purchased. The Mayflash 300 was my first arcade stick. The only time I ever played on an arcade layout was at arcades back, in the day. And I am of that 90s era, but I'm not the perfect age for arcade gaming. Recently, I had a comment on a video I made about the Hori Fighting Commander, which was not a good playing experience, but the comment brought us onto the subject of, should this guy switch from pad to arcade stick? The last fighting game that I really played on a pad was JoJo's All-Star Battle R. And it was during my play of this game that I switched to stick, which really exposed a lot of the problems with my way of playing, my play style, and my lack of fundamentals, really. So before I get into the point about should you switch from pad to arcade stick, let's start there. If what you're looking for in a fighting game experience is a bunch of complicated execution with fancy special moves and supers and things like that, then you'll immediately enjoy your switch to the arcade stick. But if what you want to do is win, it's definitely going to take you a lot longer. And how long, in my opinion, is predicated exclusively on the state of your fundamentals when you start playing. So shortly after starting playing arcade stick, I discovered my love for my favorite fighting game, Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. Or Guilty Gear Plus R, as most people know it. When I first started playing Guilty Gear, I played a lot of Justice. I was just using the stick to get easy advantage. I was just basically spamming down as fast as I could on the arcade stick and putting out as many nukes as I could. But as I said earlier in the video, half circle motions and things like that, which are heavy in Guilty Gear Plus R, became a lot easier immediately. So I stuck with Justice for a little while. This game's really crazy, so on top of needing better fundamentals, I definitely needed better defensive fundamentals. So while Justice can be a pretty lame zoning character, I would say that my time playing Justice was beneficial to me because there's a lot of blocking involved. And she kind of gave me time to get into the learning curve of the movement options and stuff in Plus R. But then I got a little bit bored with Justice, to be perfectly honest. She was a bit too easy as a character. And the zoning, not only was it unfun for my opponents, it wasn't always fun for me. I wanted something more high octane and acrobatic and impressive, and so I switched to Eno and became probably the worst Guilty Gear player online. Eno was all those things. She had a hover dash, she had 2 air dashes, she had the 6-3-2-1-4-6 motion on her chemical love attack, which, if you don't know fighting game numeric notation, you probably don't even know what I just said when I said 6-3-2-1-4-6 motion. But she was all the things I was looking for in a character, except she completely exposed my lack of fundamentals. No hit confirms, no defense, no neutral, just pure aggression, unsafe, no frame data knowledge, and I don't think it's inaccurate to say I was for a long time one of the worst players possible in Guilty Gear. Maybe I still am. I definitely don't have a very big ego when it comes to this game. I just love the characters, the way it looks, and the game in general. It wasn't until I took my time with things a little bit more, started working on my fundamentals, and started playing a little Street Fighter Third Strike, that I really started to work on my fundamentals. So don't just bring that up for no reason though. The games I enjoy the most on the arcade stick is older games, which has also been a hot topic of discourse in the fighting game community recently. The debate has been going on over which is better, old games or new games. And when it comes to my particular perspective on this, I could simply say I prefer the old games most of the time. But I think that the new games are working in a good direction. I think that a lot of the new games are giving us things that we needed to make fighting games a lot more accessible. But the real point is, should you buy an arcade stick over a controller? And in my opinion, I kind of do think things are trending away from arcade sticks. If you like to play newer games, like any game that was released after 2020, I don't think you need an arcade stick, especially if your hand's already more comfortable with a controller in it. Which that may be an assumption, but I'm just assuming if you're watching this video, you're wondering more likely, should you play on an arcade stick, not should you switch from an arcade stick to a controller. I think the way that games are being designed today, that they want to remove things like the few advantages I mentioned of playing on arcade stick, like the few immediate advantages that I mentioned about playing on arcade stick. I think that if your fundamentals are right, then you're gonna do all right in fighting games, and if you're getting exposed, you should probably look back to square one. So in today's landscape, would I recommend anybody move to arcade stick from controller? The answer is really no. I might even tell them to look at hitbox before arcade stick. The only reason that you should buy an arcade stick is if you like the clicky clacky sounds of the buttons. It's the truth.